Today we're going to visit Norman, Oklahoma, the home of Boomer Sooner and the General, as we look inside the heart and mind of the Booty family story, one story at a time. My name is Ken Karcher, and I'll be your host. Alongside me today is my son, Austin Karcher, the co-host. And today we'd like to welcome General Booty as our guest to Awaken Kingdom Culture, where hearts and minds come alive, one story at a time. Welcome, General.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Really excited.
So, General, tell us a little bit about growing up in your home.
Yep. So I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Okay.
I was there till I was about 9 years old before I moved out to California. Growing up, when I was younger, I always had my whole family around. My grandfather played a big role in my life, which is Johnny, who y'all talked to. And then my dad and his three brothers, so a big family, always around, super close, tight-knit, God first, football, sports, anything you can imagine was always going on, always competing, having fun. So it was a really good time getting to grow up around all that and being so close to my family. And then John David went off to play at USC in Southern California for Pete Carroll. We'd go out there and visit, and my dad fell in love with the area, the ocean, all that. So they ended up moving out there after John David finished at USC. And so I grew up in California a little bit, away from my family for a while, which was also different after being with them all the time. And all my uncles would coach me up, quarterback training, my grandfather all the time. We were always watching football, having fun, being together, church on Sunday, hanging out, eating, all that stuff. So that was a little different moving away. My grandfather eventually moved out there with me, and John David ended up moving back when he was done with football. My parents are still out there. So it was unique growing up in a sports family like that, and a big family as well. So it was a great time.
Awesome. So share with us a little bit about the story behind your name, General. You don't hear that name all that much.
Yeah, no, it's definitely unique. I haven't met another general yet. Hopefully I will one day. But my dad came up with the name when he was a teenager. He was fascinated with the military. He was never in the service or anything like that, but fascinated with the military and loved it. Just very creative, and said if he had a son one day, he will always want to name him General. And my mom, she's cool enough to go with it and agree with it, so let him do it. So
you've already learned at a young age, General, the mothers are the boss. You're exactly right.
Yes, sir.
So awesome. Tell us a little bit about growing up, maybe some of your dreams or maybe some of your heroes.
Yep. So big hero was my grandfather. Growing up looking up to him, and also my father as well. Two strong figures I always had in my life that I can look towards as an example, or also ask them anything. We were always talking about sports, not necessarily football. That's what they both did. My dad was a receiver. The rest of my family all played quarterback. So that's what they knew and they did and they loved. So we'd share moments out in the football field. But growing up, I liked to play all sports, whether it was baseball or basketball. And really what meant most to me was whether it was football or not, they were going to support me, whether it was sports or whether I was doing something in school or any aspiration or dream I had at that time. They're going to be there and support me in full. And that always meant a lot to me. So to have them always there, those kind of were my heroes. I mean, yeah, growing up watching, when it comes to football, guys like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and stuff, trying to emulate them, watch them. Yeah, those guys are awesome on the football field. But as far as guys I looked up to and heroes, it was definitely my grandfather and my dad, all my uncles too. I mean, it was my family.
Yeah, awesome.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit, maybe describe, your relationship with your dad and, how he encouraged you and influenced you, try to accomplish your dreams, and then also how he has helped grow your faith.
Yeah. No, so growing up, I was fortunate to spend a lot of time with my dad. Obviously, he's off at work and stuff a good bit, but he always ended up making time to. A lot of the times he was the head coach of my football team growing up, or he played a very big role where he was there a whole lot. But most of the time he was my head coach, and we won a lot of games together and spent a lot of good time together. So that always meant a lot that he'd make the time. Because looking back at me when you're young, you don't really think about it. But looking back, that's the sacrifice of uh, probably some extra time he'd have to put in at work or take some days off for his free time. But it meant a lot. And so getting to spend time that way to the football field, and then on the weekends too, we'd hang out and do whatever. It was always awesome to have him around and cherish that time and loved it. And then as far as growing my faith, my grandfather, like I mentioned, he was a pastor, so getting to grow up kind of in a Christian atmosphere, going to church that was regular. That's kind of all I knew. So it wasn't anything that was foreign to me or something that was just kind of always what I was around and was what I saw and knew and expected. So going to church on Sundays, the church community, the family feeling, people coming together, not just church on Sundays, but then afterwards going to hang out and have lunch with a lot of people, and always being at the church for an extra hour, and my grandfather and my dad's talking to people, building relationships and stuff like that. So that was instilled in me at a very young age, and that's what I was always very used to that. So I was very fortunate in that way. I've realized not many people have that in their life or grew up that way. So for me, that was a norm and something I was very used to. And growing up, went to the same school my grandfather was a pastor at, and Calvary Baptist Academy, private Christian school. So even in class, it was faith based. So I was very fortunate and lucky. I didn't quite understand at that time when I was super young, but that was how I grew up and kind of what I knew.
Yeah. Awesome. So tell us a little bit maybe about, you talked about how your granddad played a role in, he came out to California and worked with you and stuff like that. How did he help develop you as a quarterback?
Yeah, no. So from a very young age, me and him would go out to work, and this started even before I'd go out and do quarterback stuff. He'd call me on the weekends. I'd be 7 or 8 years old, and he'd be like, "Hey, the cars need washing today. It's like summertime, like 102 degrees out. And he's like, the cars need washing today. I'm gonna be out there. The work's hard, but the money's good." And I'd go over and wash the cars with him. He'd pay me like $2, or we'd go get like an ice cream cone or something like that afterwards. But I just loved being with them and spending time with them. Like, what's better than that, So no matter what it was, I think one time we're out in the backyard, like laying down stones and stuff for a pathway. So it started off on little things like that. Growing up, just spending time with them, but at the same time, he was instilling a work ethic in me, and not only getting me out there to do it, but also showing me how it was done. And so that just translated to once I got older. I always had a ball in my hand growing up, and
Yeah.
in my family, baseball or football was going on. So I was throwing something around, And so we'd go out to the fields, and it started very simple. We were working technique and how to throw a football, and then three-step, and then it was kind of like, I started to really like it and enjoy it, especially during football season. I'd really focus on it, and then afterwards I'd go play basketball, baseball, whatever. But during football season, lock in, and obviously he has a bunch of knowledge, so anything that he'd tell me, or time that he'd take out of his day to go out there and want to work with me, I absolutely ate it up. So we'd go out and work three-step drop, through the hitch, and then finally I got a little older, a little stronger, and it was 3 no hitch, and then we started talking about blitzes and other stuff, whether just footwork and getting out of your hand, but timing and anticipation, why you do certain things. So it just grew and grew and grew and grew over the years. And I still last spring break, me and him, I went back to Shreveport last year, and we're still out there working, talking about some of the same fundamentals and stuff like that, and throwing the receivers out there. So it still hasn't stopped. I now don't have as much time to go back and all the time and go hang out every day and throw, just because I'm in college. But anytime I do get around them. We're usually end up on the football field and end up throwing at some point.
Awesome.
Here's the question though, General. Did he pay you more than $2 last spring to do the car?
I've graduated. I've graduated now. He's got younger grandchildren that need to come spend some time with them and learn how to work in the yard. So I've graduated out of that.
Awesome. So tell us about, obviously, you have 3 uncles. Tell us about your relationship with each one of those.
Oh, it's awesome. All 3 very different though. Josh, as y'all know him, very outgoing, never stops, loves ball, going all the time. Loves people, relationships. So anytime I reach out to him and he can be around, he'll be there, and he'll work with me all day, and whether we want to throw, want to work out or run, and he'll do it with me too. So he'll be right beside me and he'll just go all day. Whether I want to go golf, we'll go grab dinner, go do lunch. So me and him put a lot of time in, and he just absolutely eats football up and sports, and that's his life. And so he eats that up, and so we can talk ball all day, whether we're just sitting there watching, we're out in the field working. He always is looking at the details, so we always find something. So me and him have spent a lot of time out in the field reconstructing the whole throwing motion and thinking little things through like that. He's just an awesome time. And you got John David, who I mentioned earlier, played out at USC. Me and him haven't worked too much when it comes to football. He's been more of a mentor, more serious. I ask him questions throughout college, kind of what his experience was like, things to expect,
Yeah.
more wisdom, kind of what he went through. We've gotten out and done the ball a couple of times, but me and him don't necessarily go out there and just work out on the field like I do with Josh or even Jack, my other uncle.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily go out in the field. He's more, we have a great relationship. Don't get me wrong. We love spending time together when I get to see him, but he more imparts wisdom and kind of tells me how his path was and what his experience is. And then Jack, the last one's the youngest one. Me and Jack may be the closest just because the age gap.
Yeah.
We're like 10 years apart, so we're pretty close. When I was growing up in Shreveport, he was in high school playing quarterback, was all state, so he was a stud. So when I'm in, I guess, third, fourth grade, he's junior, senior quarterback, and I get to go watch him every Friday night. So I looked up to him, I was so young when Josh and John David were playing. I remember bits and pieces, but I really remember when Jack was playing. So he was the one I looked up to because I just got to go watch him play, and he was always around. Me and him, he's trained QBs for a long time after he got done playing. So he would always train me.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time out on the field too, but just being close in age, we've spent a lot of time together and are really close. But all 3 unique situations, but very close with all of them, and they're amazing people.
Now here's the tough question that I have for you. Okay, if you got advice from each one of them about quarterback play, and they were different, who would you listen to?
Oh, that is a tough one because that has happened multiple times. It goes back. We still have we have family group chats and stuff on the phone all the time, so it goes back and forth to who's the best quarterback of all time and who's doing this and trivia questions every day. So they never agree on anything when it comes to that. They all got their own different styles. Josh was more of a gunslinger. JD was very pure spin a rock, and then Jack. Kind of a mix of both of them. Very athletic as well too. A little bit of a runner, just a gamer,
Yeah.
So Jack's a little caught up more currently. Josh, he spends a lot of time around and is always thinking about it. I take bits and pieces from all of them, to be honest.
That's wise.
When it comes to the end of the day, they've all played this position. They're smart enough. They're not in my ear, after after a game saying you should have done this, should have done that. I mean, they know I'm running a certain scheme, certain offense, or we got certain reads. They may ask me things like, well, what were y'all thinking here, or why do y'all do this?
Yeah.
Instead of necessarily, you should do this, you should do that. But when it comes to like footwork and stuff like that, I mean, I'm open. We try a bunch of different things. It's more kind of what's be more comfortable and efficient for me. But I take bits and pieces from both. Uh, they got different advice all the time, so that is
Maybe just go back to
very
the
common
source. Go to
thing.
the granddad.
Yep. And that's usually what ends up happening. For sure.
Well, General, I don't know if many of our listeners know this unless they've researched your background, but you have definitely one of the most interesting backgrounds from high school to Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't mind, walk us through your starting high school as a freshman and then sophomore, junior, senior. There's another place, then on to OU. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, no, so it's a little bit of a long story, but I won't take too long. My freshman year, that's when we had just moved out to California for middle school. I went to a school called Corona Del Mar out there my freshman year. Killed it on the freshman team. We played like 7 games, I think, maybe 8 games. So after that was over, varsity's still going. We got a lot of time left in the season. So pulled me up to JV. I played like 3 JV games, killed it. Then they're like, hey, I got invited up for the playoffs for varsity. I get to dress out. I get to go watch. So I get to go watch, get in a couple garbage time games early in the playoffs where we're up and get that experience. And that was a great time. So finished my season there, and thought that's where I was going to be. Didn't think about going anywhere else. My dad comes to me kind of in the off season and goes, hey, I got offered a job. And I was like, okay, so out here in California, what's the job? And he goes, well, I don't have to take it, and it's just something I'm thinking about, and I wanted to get your reaction and see what you're thinking as well. And he's like, I got offered a high school head coaching job down in San Antonio, Texas, a school called Cornerstone Christian. He's like, I haven't made any decisions by no means, but I am going to go down there and check it out here this upcoming weekend, see the place, meet the people, and I'd like you to go down with me and go check it out. So I was like, sure, of course, let's go do it. So we went down there, had a good time, amazing school, campus, private Christian school as well, part of Cornerstone Church, which is a big church, Pastor Hagee. And Pastor Hagee basically said that he wanted to build a sports team, and most of their sports have been very average over the years, and they're looking to kind of ramp it up, get competitive. And so I was like, this is going to be very different than California, San Antonio, back to the South. But I was like, I've had my dad coach me all through middle school, won a lot of championships all through elementary. So I was like, when am I ever going to get this? This came out of the blue. When am I going to get this chance again, this experience? So I was like, let's go do it. So we go down there, spend the year at Cornerstone, have a successful season I think they had won like 3 games the year before. So we came in and flipped the script around a little bit. We still lost, I believe it was 3 games that year, but we were like 8-3. So it was a successful season. We brought in a lot of guys. My Uncle Jack and Josh both came in for the football season. Jack was my OC. Josh came in and worked with me as the quarterback's coach whenever he could. And actually, my grandfather was offered the athletic director position down there. And so he was the athletic director. So we had everyone down there. I was not short of family and coaches by no means. So it was a great time. Unfortunately, Pastor John Hagee was getting old, and he passed down the school to his son, Matt. And Matt didn't necessarily want to be competitive with sports anymore. I mean, they were pumping in. The private school, they were pumping in money. They were wanting to be good. They were wanting to get kids in, bringing kids from all over San Antonio, around the area. We were playing a national schedule. We played a team out in California. It was like IMG. We weren't in a league. So we were going out to California. We had a team flying from Florida. So they were spending money. They were wanting to be good. And once he passed it down to his son, that just wasn't his vision really anymore. He didn't necessarily want to sell out on being good, because it wasn't just the football team. They brought in a baseball coach, softball coach, and they were starting to take off too. So it was on the upswing, but it was taking time and money. So that wasn't his vision, and at the end of the day, that was what my dad and my grandfather were told that they wanted him to
Mm-hmm.
do, was come in and build a team, and just tried to keep working things out a couple months after that, and just it was just kind of butting heads a little bit, I guess. Just two totally different visions, So they're like,
Right.
we can't really do this anymore. And so at that point, my dad's like, well, we had a successful year. I got to coach you for a year in high school. Uh, Definitely not totally a waste. And so like, we'll move back to California. So I go back to California and moved same city I lived in, Corona Del Mar, the high school I came from my freshman year, had a transfer quarterback come in that was a few years older. So I was like, they had their guy now. He played there for a year. I was like, can't really go back there. So I went to J Sarah, which is in the Trinity League, with like Mater Dei and Bosco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A good program, very good program historically. Go there for my junior year now, and a little different, no family as coaches, a little more serious program. You got to play Mater Dei and Bosco every year, and you got to try to make it a game. You're going to see them. You're going to see them in the regular season, and then you're going to see them in the playoffs. So you got to at least win one of them, and make it try to be competitive. So very serious Catholic school. It was fun. I made a lot of friends there. We had a solid team. At the end of the day, we didn't have a good enough team to compete with Mater Dei and Bosco, and I believe those were the two that were in the championship that year too. Once we got beat, but had a good season, made it to the playoffs. It was fun. It was different for me offensively. It was more under center, run heavy, which was more than I'd ever been. So I learned a lot that year, just being under center and doing that. Not a lot of people do that anymore. So I was thankful for that. And then COVID hits. My going into my senior year, and they say, we're not, California especially is very strict. We're not playing football. Da 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 da. And at this time, I had one offer to Liberty. Coach Hugh Freeze had offered me after my sophomore season. And so that was kind of the only place on my radar at that point. And I was hoping to have a good senior season, maybe get some more options, and just see. And so the only place that was really talking about still playing was Texas, Louisiana, and I believe maybe Georgia, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And still had some family in Louisiana, family in Texas, and I was like, I really don't want to miss out on my senior year. So I started talking to my dad about it, the more serious it got, and he's like, "Well, I totally understand." He's like, "We could move down to Texas for a year and a half. If this is something you really want to do, um, and make that happen." And so I started looking at schools down here, seeing teams that were good that just had like a senior leave at QB, or kind of a little bit of an opening position, or um, so I came across Allen. Went down, checked it out. Amazing, as you guys know.
Yeah.
Amazing facilities, amazing people, school, the whole deal. The stadium's as good as it gets. So I go down and visit there, and I'm like, wow, this is where This is where I want to be. They had a couple QBs coming back, no one that ever started for them. So I was like, at least the spot's open. All I want is a chance to compete. So
Yeah.
I came down. Actually, got down here before my parents. They're still packing up the house. I got to get down here for workouts. Like, they're starting summer workouts in like 2 weeks. So I was like, I got to get down here. So I get down here. I'm staying. We're renting a little place out. I'm staying there by myself for a couple of days, and my grandfather, who's living back in Shreveport, calls me, and he's like, "Hey, I know Mom and Dad won't be around, and you're kind of on your own for like 2 weeks. You want me to come up and stay with you and hang out?" Like, he's like, I'll bring a blow up mattress, and that way you're just not stuck by yourself. 18, 19 years old, just living in a place by yourself, trying to figure it out. And I was like, yeah, come on, that'd be awesome. So he comes up there. That was actually a really good time. I'd have summer workouts in the morning, and then after that, me and him would hang out during the day, go uh, throw sometimes, watch a movie, TV shows, whatever. So that was a good time I got to spend with him, and then kind of just learn the area So season finally starts up. Stadium's not at full capacity. COVID rules still. It's like 50%. We have a really good season. We go undefeated throughout the whole season, go into the playoffs, third round, and we get beat by Euless Trinity. So season kind of comes to an end. At that point, I was only had the offer from Liberty still, and they had just announced that the COVID guys were coming back for another year. So I get a call from coach, and he's like, "Hey, I hate to do this to you, but we got our guys that are coming back. We just don't have any room." So I was like, "Man, that's not going to work out." And there was no really plan B or anything like that. So I just kind of started hitting up a bunch of coaches, doing everything I could, sending film and trying to find situations where people needed quarterbacks. But to be honest with you, it was with guys coming back and scholarships. It was really tough.
Yeah.
So didn't really find anything. And so I was like, you know what? I had two older cousins that had just went to Navarro Junior College within the past like 5 years. Both of them had went there and played linebacker out of high school, and one ended up at North Carolina with a scholarship, and the other one ended up at Baylor, and they had dominated. And they're like, you know what, JUCO life can be a little tough. It's different for sure, but if you can go in, put your head down, work, and go prove yourself out in the field, I mean, you'll get an opportunity somewhere. So it's like, you know what, I can do it. So I started looking around at JUCOs in Texas, and one that stood out to me after going to visits and meeting some of the coaches was Tyler Junior College.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna end up there. So I show up my first day of summer. OC quits, leaves. He gets the job somewhere else. I'm like, oh man, I was kind of coming for this guy because he's gonna throw it around, you know, part of like the Lincoln Riley family. I was like, man, he's gonna throw it around. All right, he's gone. Next, 2 days later, our D-line coach and our linebacker coach get jobs at a D1. They're gone. Boom. DB coach gone. Boom. We have no receivers and running backs, coach. So you're like, well, okay. O-line coach leaves. Gone. And so I'm like, what is going on? Like, not only am I stuck here in like this JUCO in a small town in a small room, I'm sharing with like four other guys, like what, now our coaches are leaving, like I don't even know my offense coordinator, what's gonna happen. And so I ended up getting AJ Smith was my offense coordinator. He's also from Shreveport. I knew him. He's a very family friend, and that was the best thing that could have happened. So what sounded like it was going to be a negative turned into a positive.
Awesome.
By the end of the year, we threw it around. Me and him became really close, although I knew him before. I had a great year in JUCO. They ended up filling the other coaches' positions. We hit the ground running. We had ended up in a fortunate situation. I had a lot of good guys on the team, not from necessarily athletic standpoint, but just good leaders and men too. So that helped a whole lot because if you know JUCO, what it lacks is structure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you don't have any structure. It all goes downhill pretty quick with those guys. So we had some guys that had bounced back from D1 who had played at that level, a good head on their shoulders. So they knew what it looked like. So I mean, me and about three other guys were able to kind of rally the whole team together and get them going in one direction, one focus, which was huge because that was more than what most other teams had in JUCO. So that alone, plus what we were doing on the field, helped us out a ton. We made it to our conference championship. Ended up throwing for the most yards in JUCO that year. We played New Mexico Military, and they got after us. We bust down there for like a 12-hour bus ride, get off the bus, go play them, get our butt handed to us by a couple touchdowns, and then shower and tear these terrible showers and get back on the bus for another 12 hours and drive through the night all the way back to Tyler. And you're just like, what just happened? You know? At that point, didn't really have anything going on after season. I knew I had all the passing yards, attempts, yards per games, touchdowns, and all that in JUCO. So I figured I'd get an opportunity somewhere. A couple schools started calling, like Nichols, McNeese State, places like that. But I had a bunch of other big schools just because COVID was still kind of overlapping, like just hanging there till spring. We got guys leaving. So I did spring ball there at Tyler, and I'm sitting in class. My phone rings, the Oklahoma number. Decline it. I'm sitting in class, so I just decline it. You know, I don't have the phone number. And I get a text. like 10 seconds later, he's like, Coach Levy answered the phone. This is Coach Levy answered the phone. And so I walk out of class. I got to go to the bathroom, whatever. I walk out of class and answer the phone, like, Coach Levy, how you doing? And he's like, good, good. I had talked to him a little bit while he was at Ole Miss and I was in high school, so I had the relationship. He was one of the schools that had QBs coming back for COVID, so he didn't end up offering me a spot, but I had talked to him a good bit. So once he got to Oklahoma, he called me up and he's like, hey, look, no, we've been watching you. He's like, it's crazy room I just walked into right now. At this point, they have Caleb Williams, so they're like, we don't know if he's staying or going. It's kind of all over. Also, I'm trying to get Dylan Gabriel in, but if Caleb stays, Dylan can't come. But we have no guys. Spencer just left. Caleb and Spencer were button heads. So he's like, we just need some consistency in the room. He's like, right now it looks like Caleb's going to leave. Dylan's going to come in. He's played for me for 3 years. He knows the system. He's going to be our guy. He's going to play for a year, and he's going to get on to the NFL. Like, he can do it. And that's his goal. That's his focus. And so I was like, all right. He's like, I just want to get you down here to come visit. Me growing up in Louisiana, and my dad and uncle playing at LSU, huge LSU fan, never really thought about Oklahoma. Would watch when Baker and Kyler were there, and there's big games and stuff. Never thought about going up there for a game. So I'd never been to campus. Went up there, fell in love with campus, the coaches, BV, Lebby, what they were doing. And so I was like, shoot, I had a visit to Baylor and New Mexico set up. And I was like, you know what, cancel it. I'm coming here. I had to report like 7 days later too, so I had to make a decision quick. So I was like, I'm coming here. Got here and haven't really looked back and loved my decision.
Awesome.
That's a heck of a story. And I don't know if you knew this, but when your grandpa, who I'm obviously very close to, tells me you're going to Tyler Junior College, I said, Johnny, I'm a head coach of a community college. I'll take him in a heartbeat. So we missed out on you there. But let me ask you this, bouncing ahead a little bit, Austin. What were some of the benefits and challenges of being a third generation Booty quarterback?
I think there is a little bit of both for sure, like you said. A lot of benefits of the accessibility of being able to talk directly to whether it's my grandfather or uncles, asking them questions and about things that they've gone through, whether it was on the field, off the field. Also having them right in my back pocket to coach me, basically whenever I would ask or wanted or needed, or even if I didn't ask and they saw something they were going to coach me, so that was very beneficial. Not a lot of guys have that accessibility, just like that. And it wasn't just, like you said, it wasn't just, we talked about earlier, it wasn't just one person. I'm getting advice from all of them, so I'm hearing a lot of different things, even if one's missing something or some small detail that they're not thinking about, the other one's saying something. So I'm getting it all, so I think that was super beneficial and helped me out in a big way. And then I guess some of the things that would be tougher is with that becomes a little bit more of an expectation, especially in Louisiana. That's where, all my dad, my uncles, my grandfather, they're from. They played ball. They set records. They did amazing things there at the high school, at the college level, coaching, playing, everything, state championships, national championships. So that was an expectation going in kind of to it. And especially with me being a quarterback, they were all quarterbacks too. It wasn't like something that was brand new. It was like, oh, he should already be good. He should already know what he's doing. He shouldn't be making mistakes here sometimes or ever doing this when he got all of his uncles, his grandfather and his dad working with him all the time, or he got to grow up with them. So I had a little bit of expectation, but that's anywhere. Or with anybody. And the higher you go up, and whether it's high school, college, professional, that's, to me, that's, there's a difference with physicality and speed and stuff on the field, but it just becomes expectation at that point.
General, I hear there's another QB in the pipeline. His name's Nash. Is that true?
Oh yeah, he's in the works. He's in the works, and he can spin it now. He's John David's son, and he's we'd throw football around, but he was just really little. He's starting to grow up a little bit, and he just started playing 7-on-7 or flag this year, and JD sends me clips all the time, and I ask for clips whenever he plays. He actually just played this morning. Supposedly, I got off the phone with my dad before I got on with y'all. He had a good game, but he can spin it now. He's just pure. Me personally, I had to work on a lot of things growing up. I wasn't like JD. You watch Josh, and he can sling it. Jack is very natural. JD's just super gifted. I could always throw it and was very accurate, but I had to work a lot with my motion and all that, and that was a lot of time me and I always say my grandfather, he got my feet right, my mental. That's what he really would always hammer on is getting depth, fast, quick, being smooth, fast, quick with my feet. Me and Josh worked a lot of mechanics, a lot of little things of positioning the ball, where the nose is pointed, how I'm gripping it, where it's going back, how quickly I can get it out, up and out, no wasted movement. So I had to work a lot with that. Nash, now on the other hand, he's got a lot of things naturally that I spent months or years, even when I was young, working at. He's got it up high. He gets it up and out real quick. He's smooth weight transfer. Everything's fluid. You can tell he's like JD. So I'm excited to get to watch him growing up, and he's really starting to love football. So it's fun to watch.
Well, I know you're being very humble, but you're obviously playing at Oklahoma. You got a lot of skill yourself. I mean, it's not easy to make it there. So, looking back, what is like your greatest accomplishment in your eyes?
On the football field?
It could be football field or even outside.
Yeah, I'll give you both then. Football wise, I just core memory of mine I'm always gonna have forever is winning back-to-back state championships in middle school with my dad and that team I was on. We had out in California, we had a very special group of guys, and then also that team in Newport, the Seahawks, wasn't necessarily a winning team when we got there. And we moved there and had a couple guys come out and join and play football for the first time, and guys from a couple cities over driving in just to come play with us and help us out. We put together that first year. It was tough. We went and won, and then we came back a second year all together.
Yeah.
We're going to go do it again with my dad, the coach, and getting to spend time with him. So that will be, as far as football goes, biggest accomplishment or memory that I'll forever have and always can think about. Outside the football field, I'd have to say, I mean, as you know, as a coach at a community college, it's not super easy being there sometimes. Sometimes you get pushed to your limits.
Yep.
You got
so
guys
did I.
You got guys coming in and out all the time. A lot of change. Sometimes not even. It feels like a lot of hope. Whether it's just the guys that are around you, mentally, physically draining you. Everyone's there for a lot of different reasons. I think there's a lot of. I'm super happy I went to junior college. I wouldn't want any other route. Looking back at it, I mean, I had an unbelievable time, but it was the biggest swings of probably ups and downs in my life, as far as up here one day, down here the next day, and you don't know what's going on, and just kind of living by faith at that point. You're like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, put my faith in God, and we're going to work my hardest and try my best. So going to Tyler, not knowing anyone there, and just going to go play football, meet new guys, start off college, moving away from home, not getting to go home and see my mom, and eat a home cooked meal on the weekends, doing that and playing a football season, having a successful season, bringing the best out of some of those guys, getting to see them still playing, at other big D1s like Oklahoma State and Oregon and Kansas State and places like that. And then making it out and finally accomplishing what I set out to do, and that was go to a Division I program, get a chance to play quarterback. So that's probably off the field.
Awesome.
General, one of the things, and you'll remember I said this maybe 20 years down the road, because my life was very similar as a player and a coach, that you're going to remember all these different stops in your life are designed by God to create relationship with all kinds of different people around the country. I mean, take a look at your granddad. Your granddad and I've been friends for 30 plus years, and it happened because I was recruiting Josh. And you just don't know the tapestry of the Father and what he's doing in your life. So you'll look
Right.
back and treasure each of those moments in a different way, but you'll treasure the people that have crossed your path. That's what I really will encourage you. You'll see later in life. Let me interrupt you for a moment. I'm grateful for the opportunity that I have to do this podcast with my son, Austin. For the last 10 years, Austin and I have had many intimate conversations on his drive home from work. Some of these father-son conversations have been lighthearted, while others have been very deep and emotional. Over the Christmas holidays, we decided to start a podcast called Awaken Kingdom Culture, where we invite our friends to share their life-changing stories with you, our listeners. This podcast is done under our nonprofit, The Win Awakening, a sports ministry network for coaches, athletes, and those who lead. Our vision is to awaken hearts and minds, one story at a time. Our mission is to encourage coaches and athletes and those who lead to live from a place of victory, regardless of success, records, or the scoreboard. Our goal is to create safe environments where transparency and vulnerability are accepted, and value and worth are recognized in an atmosphere of love. Right in the middle of your mess, I'm reminded daily that the most important person of my day is the one in front of me, and that one matters, and that you are the one. WinAwakening.org is our website. I encourage you to visit our website, where you can encounter the good news of who you are in Christ and what you already possess and how to live from it. There you'll find blogs, videos, Andrew's journal, and this podcast, Awaken Kingdom Culture, where hearts and minds come alive, one story at a time. I'm thankful for all of you who have given and are a member of Team Win. Awaken Kingdom Culture is listener supported. And if you'd like to support us, you can go to winawakening.org. We are a nonprofit. I encourage you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And please like, share, and write a review on Spotify or YouTube. Okay, it's time to get back to the podcast. Let me jump to the NIL era now.
Yeah.
You know, everything's
Little
changed. And I'm going to, when you're done talking, I'm going to share with you how I view NIL, and hopefully it'll give you a new perspective, because I know the man of faith you are. But tell us a little bit, and I've done a little research. I thought this was interesting, but tell me a little bit about your brand, Austin and I, and our listeners.
Yeah.
And would like to hear about it.
Yeah, so NIL was new for me too. When I first got here, it was the first year in college that was a thing. Coming out of Tyler, I think you have a couple scholarship guys on the team. I was on like a half scholarship at that point. I wasn't getting a stipend check. I wasn't getting any money or anything. I'm eating the cafeteria food pretty much every day. McDonald's every now and then at night. It was like it was an awesome meal. You get one pair of cleats when you show up, shorts and a t-shirt, and that's about it,
That's right.
And then I get to Oklahoma, and now it's like, not only is they're talking about NIL as a thing, I got 5 pairs of cleats to choose from, a practice helmet and a game helmet, all these jerseys. They're giving me gloves. I get a couple pair of gloves. I don't even wear them. I'm not a receiver. Like that, they're just put in my locker, Unlimited food, protein shakes. They got giving us like pills and medicine and vitamins to take after our workouts. They're like good for us. So I'm like, holy cow, like totally 2 different worlds, night and day. And then on top of that, NIL just gets released. And so no one really everyone's like, "Oh, awesome! Players get paid now, great." But no one really knows what that looks like. I mean, all of a sudden, boom! It hits like that. Guys can't accept anything to now like you can accept uh, a free meal or a pair of shoes
Right.
in a return for your signature or some service, And so everyone's kind of trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. Um, Companies, no one's really done anything. So the first year was kind of slow. I mean, yeah, you heard a couple big guys like, oh, he got a car deal with Ford or something.
Right.
And you're like, this starting quarterback here, you get a receiver, you got this, and you're like, oh, that's cool, whatever. So it's kind of slow the first year. Everyone was slowly trying to figure it out, see what was going on, and then it was like the next year it exploded because the schools made these collectives. Each
Mhm.
school has a collective now, and that's where their fans or donors can send in money, and it's not through the football program by no means, but uh, the collective informs, I guess. I don't even know how it works, but they can disperse money as the football program or whatever. And so now you got guys getting paid through collectives and guys start doing deals and stuff like that. So everyone's like, whoa, like this just all happened fast. So everyone's trying to, I guess, get their own, and that's changed now. And then you got the transfer portal on top of that. So
Right.
it got real crazy real fast. Um, I think there'll be some more rules and regulations still put into play that they probably need, um, just from keeping things going crazy. Now, I do think the players deserve to get some type of compensation for how much money
Sure.
they're bringing in when you look at a university, especially like Oklahoma and stuff. And coming from a junior college to here, seeing how much the fans care, how nationwide the fan base is, all the money they're bringing in, yeah, of course, yeah, the players they definitely they deserve the compensation. Now, whether NIL is the best way to do it, I don't know. Uh, I'm not sure. I still think things need to be talked about. So I'm interested to see where it goes. But once the NIL space opened up with my unique name, I first created a couple shirts and put it on a website and um, just to kind of fill it out and was like, shoot, I don't know, like are two people gonna buy my shirt, being my grandmother and my mom and like a friend or something back home, or is like Oklahoma fans are pretty nationwide. It's pretty crazy, or is it gonna be like a couple hundred? So I came out with a couple cool designs just with my name, some fun stuff, and Oklahoma colors, and put it out on the website and partnered with the Children's Hospital and put those out, and those kind of just it took off, and then next thing I knew, it was on Instagram everywhere, on like Barstool and Sports Center and all this. So I was like, it jumped way out of proportion, but it was very cool. It wasn't something that was expected, but it was very cool, and so I did that, and then last year I partnered with a company called Rockham. Great people. Unbelievable company. They are the biggest sock company in the world,
Mm.
licensing with Disney, NFL, NBA, Marvel, all this. So they do these cool socks, and they're pivoting to underwear, men's underwear. And so they call me. Steve calls me. He's like, "Hey, been friends for a little bit now. It's maybe a weird question. You tell me whatever you say, yes or no. Like you're not gonna hurt my feelings, but we're wanting to move into men's underwear. We got a large base of customers already. Through our socks, and we want to push underwear, but we want to pop out. We don't want to be like a regular. We can't compete with like Hanes or Calvin Klein and just be like, oh, we're doing underwear now. Here's a black pair of underwear, a gray pair of underwear. He's like, come out with some cool design, something unique, different. He's like, we want to use you because there's NIL now, and your name, booty, the underwear. Like maybe we could do something that would be a splash and just like a hard first launch. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, like that'd be awesome. I love what you guys do. I love what y'all stand for, your company, and great people. I was like, if there's anyone else, probably not, but I was like, trust you. Let's do something fun. So we workshopped some stuff up, and somehow it got to the point where like we got OU's logo approved to be put on it, and then we got booty on the back, and so he's like, we got to do something Oklahoma style. You can't just, what do we do? You just do a photo shoot with you stand there in your underwear. It's like, yeah, no, I don't really want to do that either. Like, I'm not a model. I'm not a model or anything. And that'd be kind of weird. But they're like, well, you go to Oklahoma, uh, just spitball in here. You got the horses, you got the wagon, And they're like, what if we got you on the horse in the boomer schooner wagon in the underwear, kind of hat, boots style. And I was like, all right. I was like, I actually happen to know the people that keep the horses, Boomer and Sooner, and that have the wagon. I was like, actually, let me talk to them first because maybe we can get this going. And I was like, they live on a big farm that's real close to campus, so I was like, it'd be a cool spot to do it too. I was like, let me talk to them and see. And so I talked to them, and they're like, yeah, of course, no, that'd be awesome. We'd love that. So they ended up flying down and doing a photo shoot with Boomer and Sooner. I was on the wagon in the underwear, the cowboy hat, the boots, the whole deal. They put
Awesome.
together a fun little video or pictures or whatever, and we put that out there, and those exploded too. So I've had some viral moments with NIL just because of the uniqueness of my name. But
Awesome.
it's cool to have that ability to go out and not only make money for myself, but also, I mean, we got a ton of guys on the team, and I've done stuff myself where it's not just a lot of people don't realize everyone's like, oh yeah, this guy's getting paid so much, or he's getting paid this and that. There's been multiple guys that have raised thousands, even hundreds of thousands that go back to, like, I've done stuff at the Children's Hospital here,
Yeah.
and guys do, like, right now we got a guy named Ethan Downs is doing something for our community. He's doing like a food drive and
Hmm.
clothes drive. He's last year he brought in over, I think it was like 10,000 cans of different food and tons of clothes and stuff. So like guys are doing that, and although it's not everybody, you're seeing it a whole lot. And guys having the ability to help their community, and that not a lot of people want to talk about that, or that gets
Yeah.
shared a whole lot. I mean, it does. Sometimes you'll see it, but there's a lot of guys. I know Ohio State, Michigan have been really good with that. I've seen a lot of their guys, so shout out to them doing that. So I think that's a pretty cool thing that people don't talk about with NIL that we have the ability to do.
Awesome. So, General, tell us a little bit about, how's everything going at Oklahoma? How's any updates, or, are you
Yeah,
guys in
no,
spring ball right now, or?
we're in the middle of spring ball. I actually got meetings here in about a couple hours. Go watch practice from yesterday. We got our spring game coming up April 20th, so that's right around the corner. But we're looking good. As you know, probably we're going to the SEC, so it's a little bit of a
You
step
guys ready
up.
for it?
Yeah, oh yeah, we had a rough winter, and spring ball's been going good. I'm sure summer's going to be just as hard as the winter. So we got to be physical and big. And Coach Venables has brought in a good group of guys. Um, yeah, we're going to be a little bit younger, but the guys that we're bringing in are not only good football players, but good men as well. So um, I'm excited about our group that we have. It's going to be fun, a lot different from when I've been here this past couple of years. So I'm excited to go get to play places like Death Valley at nighttime and family come to us. And it's going to be a lot different, but it's also going to be a lot of fun as well. But nothing we take lightly. So we've been busting our butt every day, whether it's football field, film room, weight room, trying to get bigger, faster, stronger. Um, so it's going to be
I'm sure.
interesting, and it's going to be fun.
I'm sure you'll have a few people at Death Valley on Saturday
Yeah,
night when you go down there. That's great.
no
I
doubt, no
want you
doubt.
I want you to know a former coach of mine that I hired on my staff back in 2013 is Todd Bates. You'll have to go
Oh
tell
yeah,
Todd
Coach
Bates
Bates.
tell him you were with talking to Coach Karcher on his podcast. But
Oh, I will for
he
sure.
was out of work and I brought him back and I always tease him. I'm like, see, your start was East Central, baby.
He's awesome. He's awesome. He's always speaking life into the guys and bringing energy. So I love Coach Bates. But we got a good staff of coaches, and Coach Levy's recently left and got hired as the head coach at Mississippi State. And now we got Seth Pettrell, who was played here and at Oklahoma and won a national championship, and coached at North Texas for a really long time as the head coach. And it's been fun. It's obviously different transferring over all of our offensive stuff, kind of to his stuff. It took a little bit more focus this winter and spring, just new plays, new signals, stuff like that. But enjoying it.
Well, we're getting ready
It's been
to
good.
come to an end here, but tell us a little bit about your faith journey, where you are in your faith at this point in your life, General.
Yes, sir. So, like I said, like I said earlier, I grew up in a Christian household, always around the church like that. So for me, it was something I was very fortunate to be around. I don't take that lightly now that I've grown up. I mean, I've seen that's not a usual or regular thing. So being that fortunate, I had my dad and my grandfather around, like I said, and to help not only show examples of what it looks like, but help grow me in my faith. I
Mm.
still call my grandfather very regularly, and if I have any like questions or something I'm trying to discern or think about after heard a message or read my Bible or something like that, me and him have long, good talks all the time still, and I'm still learning new stuff from him every day. Um,
What was the last conversation you had with him about?
it was probably last week we were talking about wisdom, and then we were talking about manifesting, or not.
Mm.
I guess you could say manifesting would be a good word, but
Yes.
also just speaking life, speaking things into reality, into real life, speaking life into things, speaking life into others, things
Mm.
like that. And so just kind of spitballing, shooting things back and forth. I mean, I I read my Bible, ask him questions. I love asking him questions because off the top of his head, he can go, "Well, that reminds me of another verse here. Flip to this here, flip to this, flip to this, flip to this." So like, it's a lot of if I'm ever kind of cloudy or vague or just want to talk about things, I call him and um, get a lot of info. He can pull up like that, boom, 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 boom. So I love talking back and forth to him about it, and it was nothing. I want to say I did grow up around the church, but it was nothing that was ever like forced down my throat or forced to me. It was just like an example that they set, and I wanted to be like that. So the fact that it wasn't like forced upon me or anything like that, I saw how they were living. I saw how they acted, things they did. Um, and so with them being examples, I try to follow in their footsteps. And then now here I have a church. Actually, I'm super fortunate. I actually went to church this morning, walked there and back. It's like 100 yards from my house here. I'm like a mile from the stadium and like 150 yards from church. So I'm at a really good spot. I can see the stadium from my balcony here at the house, and church right around the corner. Everlasting church. It's a little different though than the church I've grown up in. I not to say I grew up in big churches or anything, but um, usually growing churches, a lot of people around, you know, exciting, the TV screens, the music, the loud music, great music, multiple singers and stuff like that. The church I found here, it's been a little different, smaller church, not too many people. I would only say like 20, 25 people in there.
Wow.
Um, all the music there is live. There's no like outside of the one microphone they're singing into. There's no like all these lights and all this stuff catching your attention and TV screens and stuff to look at. It's kind of brings you back down to earth, but I like it because I'm in such a, as you know, football is such a fast paced life, and thinking and watching film and doing stuff all day 24/7, and then on top of that you're going to classes, and then you're trying to make weight and you're trying to lift and do all this. It's everything just speeds up so fast, so I feel like when I go there I get to slow down and kind of take me back a little bit. So I really enjoy it. uh, I found my spot out here for sure. It took me a little bit, but I found my spot now, and got a couple guys on the teams that go with me and roommates that go with me as well. So
Well,
it's a special experience.
General, we're going to get here final words because I want to respect your time and schedule. But before I do that, your dad made a quote the other night when we were talking to him, and I love sharing what dads say to sons and sons say to brothers, and because I think it's what lifts us up. It speaks life to each other. And he said this, and boy, can I see it just having spent this hour with you. Your dad knows you like a book. He said, General, he said, Coach, General makes others feel special. He's very observant and has a heart of love. And the word I'd also add would be really a humble person. So your dad nailed it when he described his son.
That's awesome.
So here's how we always end. We're going to give you final words, and then Austin and I'll say a couple things and we'll get out. You can either do it collectively or you can do it individually, but what would your final words be to your dad, your granddad, and your uncles?
I'll say I'll do it collectively. Although they're all special and unique in their own way, collectively, the time that they've spent with me over the years, I know it's kind of what a lot of families do, whether we're fighting back and forth about who's better at a video game, playing Madden, playing football, or talking about who's the best football player, or out on the field working, or even at the house hanging out, watching TV and spending Christmas or Thanksgiving together. Those are special times that I got to spend with them. And the main thing would be I wish everyone could have those experiences growing up. I wish everyone could have those special times. I think when you look back at it, I was so young. I always thought that's what everyone had. That's what I expected. That's what a family was. But now as I've grown older, I've realized how special that was, and not only just the time I spent with them, the amount of time I got to spend with them. So that was very special. I mean, they said I've heard the saying, like, you didn't know you were in the good old days until you were in the good old days, and now that's kind of past, and everyone's. I mean, yeah, we still spend time together. I still communicate with them a lot. But everyone's spread out. Jack and Josh are in Florida. My dad and JD are in California. My grandparents are still in Shreveport. So a little bit all over the map when you look at it. And so there's not a lot of times, that we're all together anymore. And so I realized how special those times were, and just to say, to cherish it. But personally to them, thank you for making that so special, even though I probably wouldn't have been able to realize it or even verbalize it back then, just how important it is now.
Thanks, General. Austin?
Thank you guys.
I'm just thankful, General, that you took the time to be with us today, and I enjoyed hearing your story, and it was a very unique perspective. Obviously we all kind of went through the COVID situation, and just hearing how that has affected so many people, and to hear your story and just how you continue to persist and persevere and overcome. And, I know for me, I'll be praying for you as you continue to walk out your career, and
thank you.
I wish the best for you.
I appreciate it.
Well, like I said, humility jumps out at me when I hear now of General Booty. I've heard about you many, many years, seen some clips when you were growing up from Granddad, and I think your dad nailed it, as I said a second ago. So I just am grateful that you've been able to be a part of this. This is going to be a great podcast to share with everyone, having talked to all of you guys, and we'll make sure you get it when it's done. So thank you, General, for sharing your story with us today. I'd like to encourage our listeners to join us next time on Awaken Kingdom Culture as we continue to look inside the Booty family story, one story at a time.